Now, there seems to be a lot of confusion in the industry about the differences between AVD and Windows 365. While they do reasonably similar things, there is a big difference in the way they're implemented. I'm going to try and solve some of this confusion today and also talk about how application management can be done better with both of these platforms. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you know about AVD, and it's Microsoft's cloud-native VDI platform. It's basically all your own. There's a lot of different capabilities that you need to look after in AVD. Now, what I've done to try and make this easier is to put in what I call the Microsoft waterline. Everything below the waterline is managed by Microsoft. Everything above that is managed by you or your MSP or your technology partner. And you can see with AVD that there's not very much below the waterline apart from hardware, hypervisor, possibly a little bit of hosting. Now, for all of these pieces that are above the waterline, either you can do that stuff manually, or you can use some great ecosystem partners, some great Microsoft ecosystem partners. For this chunk here, when it comes from anything from hosting through to OS install and imaging, scaling, cost optimization, then Nerdio is a perfect partner to use in that space. But what about when it comes to OS updates and patching? How about when it comes to application management as well? Well, before I get into that, let's have a look at Windows 365. Now, you can see in this case that there's very much more below the Microsoft waterline, which means that Microsoft manages a lot more of the stack than it does with AVD. But still, peaking above this waterline, you still have OS updates and patching. You still have application lifecycle management that needs to be done. Now, Nerdio still has a place here as well. But when it comes to OS updates and patching, really there's one major solution, and that is Microsoft Intune. Now, Microsoft Intune will manage your OS updates and your OS patches across AVD and Windows 365, but it's probably a more native fit for Windows 365 and is fully supported. What about application management? Well, this is where Recast comes in, especially with Recast Application Workspace, because Recast Application Workspace can do all of your end-to-end application management across both of these platforms and also your physical Windows devices and Mac OS. So this is what it looks like. So AVD. There's a lot more that you need to do that Microsoft won't get involved with. With Windows 365, that's almost a complete DaaS offering from Microsoft, and they will manage everything for you. But for everything they don't, there is Recast Application Workspace. Look, if you have any questions, please give me a shout. Thank you.